am going to go ahead and start sharing my slideshow. I've got two things for you guys today. Basically, the slideshow, that's just going to kind of walk us through what we're doing in here. And then I also am going to actually do some live demo, and we'll cross our fingers because we all know how live demos go. So hopefully everything will go fantastically. So first of all, what we're going to be talking about in here is our membership sites, really, is what we're going to talk about. The tools we're using that I want to talk about in here are obviously WordPress and then Paid Memberships Pro. And then, of course, we'll talk about some other things that you will need. But those are the main pieces that we're going to be looking at in here and just kind of talking about membership sites in general. I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Groundhogg for hosting this event today. I got to catch some of the sessions earlier and really had some good information in those sessions. So thank you. So I'll start with just a little bit about me. We won't spend much time here because I am notorious for taking you to the last second of a session because I just can't help myself. I don't know why. So I'll quickly introduce myself. Robbie Adair. If you Google me, it's me and a soccer player in Canada. You can't confuse us. So you will definitely be able to find me if you're looking for me after this. But I do have a personal website. I call it my redheaded stepchild. I update it if I remember to. Otherwise, the poor little thing just sits there not getting any love. My agency that I've had in Houston, Texas, this year, actually in October, will be 20 years we've been in business. We do all types of media, web applications, video production, things like that. It's been quite a ride. And, you know, when we started way back 20 years ago, we were doing flash video websites with action scripting. So things have changed quite a bit in these last 2 decades, haven't they? And then I also own OS Training, which is an online web development training company where we have classes and books that teach you web development tools from WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, you name it. We have a lot of specific plugins that we cover or extensions. And so check us out. All right. So today, what are we going to talk about in this session? First, I just want to kind of do a little, hey, why a membership site? What makes you decide I'm going to have a membership site? So we're going to talk just a little bit about some case uses for those. And then we're going to actually dive into, I want to show you how simple it is for you to set up and get ready to have a membership site. Now, our membership sites, can they be very complex? Absolutely. And can WordPress and Paid Memberships Pro take you to a very complex setup? Absolutely. We're just going to be looking at it, though, at the base level here, the core level of how do you get started if you don't have one. And I'm going to show you how to do a connection with Stripe. We're going to cross our fingers. That's part of the live part. We're hoping that it all works out, but it should be pretty simple. So hopefully we're going to be good to go in there. And then I want to just talk a little bit. Now, this whole event, I know you've probably been swamped with things about CRMs and marketing and all that, but I just want to give you a few more little techniques that maybe you haven't thought of for encouraging signups to your membership website. And then, of course, I will try to get lots of time at the end for questions. Again, I'm really bad about that, but I will definitely give it a go. And Gregory will help me stay on track here. So why do you want to have a membership site? Well, the very, very core fundamental reason for having a membership site, in my opinion, is you have something of value, whatever that is, to training, information, coaching, maybe it's an association that there's information that gets shared among members, but it is you have something of value that could be shared with a group of people. And then again, you probably heard demographics and personas and things like that today, right? That's your group of people. That's just the group of people that would be interested in the information that you have. And that is a group, it's a membership, right? It's members. And so that's one of the main basic fundamental reasons for having a membership site. You also can then, because you are gathering those people together, you're creating that community around that topic. That is making the membership. That is your group, right? The other thing is, geez, you know, we've done training for years too. And you can go in and you could train a whole, even a conference room full of people, right? At one time. but that's only that amount of people. And maybe you have really good information and you could go and do talks. If you're one person, let's say, or even if you're a team of people, you could go and do talks every day of the year. You still aren't going to hit every person out there, especially when we're talking about our big old planet, right? Because the internet reaches everyone. And so if you can create something though, and it's a talk, it's a course, it's whatever, maybe it's a newsletter that you do every month that has particular information, that is of value to more than just the people that you personally can reach if you were doing this in person. And so this is where you can actually create something and sell it multiple times, right? And then if you can create something and sell it multiple times, can you continue to create more information? In which case, now you can start doing the reoccurring revenue on that. An example would be, I do a course on WordPress, right? And I start selling that. That's probably a one-up sell. That still could be a membership. I'm letting them in to do this. Maybe I have some other tools for them. But let's say I'm going to update that sucker and I'm going to do some other courses based on it. And I'm going to release those throughout the year or every other year, or whatever that might be. But it does then cause a cause for you to have reoccurring revenue, because now you can sell your memberships on a reoccurring, so a subscription basis. And so that to me is kind of your core essence. And by the way, I kind of hesitated in also including the reoccurring revenue there, because it could be that you actually have a free membership site, and those do exist. I'm not telling you that just do this to go after money. But if you do have something of value that you're already selling and you're going to put it into this membership site, then you can make money off of it, and you can make reoccurring revenue, that glorious make money while you sleep part, right? So what type of sites are there? Because like I said, they may or may not all be paid. And maybe you love 3D printing. I do. Maybe you like to fly drones. I do, right? So yeah, we all have our hobbies, right? Well, there are sites out there of common people that do the same. They have the same likes. They talk about the same things. Maybe we show our mods that we've done on something, whatever. And so we have a group of people. Those could all be in a membership site, whether it's paid or not. Associations, organizations, there's so many out there, right? Those typically do have annual dues. So why not make it a membership site where that is all automated for you? And you're already set up with the content restrictions that you need to deliver what those members or levels of members can see and receive. So you're already set up there to deliver that to your levels of members. Coaches can, when I see coaches that don't have a membership site, I'm like, wow, don't you think you could offer this to more than just your individuals that you're coaching to or your companies that you're coaching to? Because coaches, they're always, it's a continuous thing, right? And so to me, it makes sense to be a membership site. Training, obviously, I do believe that training makes a great membership site. We do reoccurring subscriptions on our training site. And I also know I subscribe to many other training sites. And because that's just, I want that information. It's worth it for me to pay a membership. As a matter of fact, I prefer when they're membership sites, because I know what's happening is they're hoping on numbers. So they're bringing my costs down. So I can get that training course that I might have had to pay $2,000, 5-10 years ago to go into in person in a week session. Whereas now I could for $100 or $200 a year have access to that course plus more, because they're having quantity there. And so they can lower the price point on it. So you can get that information to more people that way. And then, like I said, hobby sites, these may or may not charge, but they may, because even if it is a hobby site, what I always say is it won't be much. Hopefully it won't cost you much, but whoever is putting together that site is having to pay for hosting. They have expenses, the domain name registration, plugins, yearly costs, things like that. So there is a cost to even having a hobby website. And so for someone to charge a little bit for a hobby website, I don't think twice about doing it, just because I know they do have expenses there. So now let's jump in here and let's talk about what the basic setup to start you would need, according to this talk, right? There's lots of ways to do this, but what we're going to look at here is, if I have a WordPress site, or you can install one if you don't have one, And then paid memberships pro, and I did not put the S on that, paid memberships pro plugin on there. You see the logo down here. And then you do need, if you're going to charge for it, you've got to have a way to receive money. I would say probably one of the most common, or the two most common, would be Stripe and PayPal. And so we're going to look at just Stripe in here, but do note that Paid Memberships Pro does work with multiple gateways, not just Stripe and PayPal, but others as well. But they do work with these two. And then you can look on their website. There will be a lot more that they do offer to you. So getting installed, we're going to talk about a few of these things, and then we're actually going to go and look at it. But getting installed, I actually already have it installed on our demo site, and I wanted to just let you know there are two ways you can do this. You can actually do this by going to their site and signing up. They do have a free level. So if you're just thinking, oh, I'm just going to try this out and see how it works, you can sign up for the free level. It may or may not work for you. There's a lot more add-ons once you start going to a paid level on here. They have a plus and an unlimited. So they have two different levels there that you can look at that are their paid levels. So if you've purchased, even if you go on and you set up your free account, you can download the plugin from their site. Or if you prefer, in the back end of WordPress, you can just go to install new plugins, search for them, and you'll find them also in the directory. So you can actually install directly in the back end of WordPress, whichever you're more comfortable with. I also like to just go ahead and point out, this is a high level talk, right? We only have an hour here. I definitely can't tell you everything, but if you do decide to start using Paid Memberships Pro, they have very good documentation on their website. There's videos, and I'll talk about those in a little bit. So they have information on their website. And so you will be able, the most obscure thing I have looked for, I have found in their documentation. And so I think you will find that you have very good information to rely upon if you run into some stumbling blocks. And they also have add-ons. There are some that are free, and then they also have some paid add-ons. But I definitely recommend, after you get yourself set up, look through the add-ons and see what they offer. One, you may go looking anyway because you have a specific need and you're like, oh, geez, how am I going to do this? And then you find, oh, well, it's an add-on they have that'll fix it. But I say go look anyway, even if you don't have that need, to see what they do have. Like I don't even know why I didn't think about looking for it before, but I just noticed that they had a Slack integration. I was like, hey, wait a minute, this is awesome. Nobody likes anything better than getting those little notifications. This is just a test one for you to see, but no one likes it better than, seeing, oh, I had somebody sign up for a membership. Oh, I had somebody sign up for a membership. And you can have that going directly into a Slack channel dedicated. So you can kind of keep track of it, and gives you a little bit of historical value there too, that you can look at external of your website. So while you're doing your other things, you can see this information coming in. So that's just a little example. There's a lot of add-ons. And so, like I said, I do suggest if you start using the plugin, go through their add-ons and just see what they have available. Because you may say, oh, wait, they've got an integration with this tool and I use it already. The other thing that I like to point out is, the other thing that I really appreciate about the plugin is that they have their data in separate tables inside of WordPress. So it's not everything is going into the post table here. They have their own tables for all of this. You'll see that there are multiple tables in the database that are installed when you install the plugin. And this may be, for some people, you don't care at all. You don't ever look at the database. But for the people who do, I like to point out, I really appreciate the fact that the data goes in their own tables here. Like for instance, you'll see that is the table for membership levels. So the membership levels have their own table there, and you'll see the little sample I'm going to pull up. I've made 2 membership levels, and you can see them listed in the table there. So to me, I like having that data separated over into those other tables, so that it makes it very easy for me to get to. Maybe I'm going to have a React Native app and I want to be able to tie over to those data tables. I don't always want to be hitting my post table and pulling stuff. So this gives me a much cleaner look of that data. I probably bored some people there, but sorry, I just like you to know. I think it's important to know where everything is in the back end. Okay, so some examples, and I didn't have time in here to like put together a whole slew of examples for you to look at. I wanted just more to let's talk about the types of membership sites there are. There are so many out there, and there's some really cool things that people have done, and especially the combination that they may have of different plugins and or add-ons onto this one that I think are really cool. And they have a showcase on their website, and I highly recommend, especially if you're whether you have a membership site currently or you're just thinking about doing one, go and read some of these. They call them showcase. I call them case study, but read what these people are doing with their membership sites. It might help give you ideas too. And you can say, oh, well, that's a great idea. And that really fits with my product that I want to put out there, or my information and topic that I want to put out there. So definitely go check out their showcases there. And then they also, I said earlier, I mentioned, they have some videos, they have some step-by-step guides. And so you can go through, they actually even have a 5-minute setup. I love it. And that's kind of what we're going to do in our little example here. It's just the 5-minute setup. You can, in 5 minutes, literally have membership levels and start charging for them. I mean, it's that quick. Of course, you'll want to spend more time on your site probably, but to get the basics, fundamentals there, it's that fast. But there are video guides on there, and they cover all kinds of things. And they have a YouTube channel too that you might want to check out that has just tips on some things, like just tips on memberships, maybe information on pricing, how do I price, how do I name my levels, things like that. They've just got some good conversations out there that I do suggest you check out. All right, so now we're going to take a look. So I'm going to switch my screen over to a different one. So I'm going to go ahead and do a new share here. And here we go. All right, so what we have here, Paid Memberships Pro website that I just was talking about, things like their support, their videos, their showcases. You can find all of that here. You can, again, if you want to buy it and download it, or even if you're doing the free one, you can download it from here. I have actually already installed it on, I've got just a basic WordPress site here. It barely has anything in it. I didn't want us to be confused with too many plugins going on in the back end here. So we've got a pretty clean site, and I do have Paid Memberships Pro installed here. So 1, I've got my WordPress site. 2, I have now installed the Paid Memberships Pro. I'm going to go to the dashboard. If we look at the front of this website, by the way, I do want to note the other thing, which I didn't mention in my slides, but I wanted to point out to you, is they also have a theme. If you don't already have a theme, maybe you're just getting this rolling, you could use their MemberLite theme that they have. It's customizable, so you can change the look and feel. I have done no customizations on this one, but you can take a look at their theme. I think it even has its own dedicated web page. Maybe it's memberlite.com, memberlitetheme.com, but you can find it from their website. So I just went ahead and installed that so we would have a theme going. All right, on the dashboard here, just to kind of get the overview of Paid Memberships Pro. The dashboard has a great little walkthrough. It's what I call it. It's going to hold your hand. You've got your initial setup. These are like the things you must do before you're going to use it at all. And then you've got other settings that you really will want to do these other settings. Guess you don't have to. You could go with everything canned, but you want to go through these other settings. But our initial ones, 1, set up membership levels. I actually already set up a couple just because I wanted to get that picture of them in the database tables. And so let's see, let's go in here. It would say create them there instead of view them, but I already created a couple. So we have our membership levels. Now I'm going to go back to the dashboard because you can see the next thing is generate membership pages. But I'm going to go now back to membership levels because I want you to see, look, they're even walking me through here. Next step is you need to go set up your membership tables. So I haven't done this yet. I started to, but then I thought, well, what am I going to show you guys in here? Let me show you how easy this is. So we're going to set up the pages. Now, I could say create them manually, but you know, time is money. So I'm going to say generate these pages for me. So I've literally just created all the pages that we need, your membership account, your billing. So we have created all of these checkout. We have created these pages, or they created them for us actually. And you can see that they did list it here and they said, hey, we have created these pages. There's their IDs. So the pages have been created. You could change these if you want. So you actually can make your own if you wanted to. You can edit them. So you can edit them from here as well. Now, we're not going to get into customizing these pages. I wanted you to see that they actually generate these pages for you, which I think is really cool. It is saves you a lot of time. Okay. And let's see here. Now, the next thing that they had mentioned in here, you'll see that I really need to do. So now it says manage them. The other thing I need to do is configure my payment settings. So if we go to our settings tab here, I could have clicked on that. You'll see payment gateway and SSL. All right. So payment gateway, and this is where we're going to cross our fingers. Let me see if I'm still logged into my test Stripe account here. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we're in test mode. You could obviously go into live mode, but I suggest you test it out with test mode at first. So we're going to select the payment gateway here. I'm going to select Stripe, but you'll notice that there are other gateways there that you can pick from. Braintree is quite common, Authorize.net, obviously, but I would still say Stripe and PayPal are probably still used more than anything out there. I could be wrong about that. I don't have numbers behind that. Okay, so gateway environment. I'm going to stay right now in a sandbox testing environment because I want to just test these out. And the sandbox testing number is 4242, repeated over and over for the credit card. So if you're going to use that, you just need to know that that's the basic credit card checkout. There are other numbers that will give you errors so you can test how the errors are handled. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and connect with Stripe. I do have it open there. Okay, good. So hopefully it's going to work just fine because I have it open, and I do suggest you go ahead and open it up. All right, so select the one you want to. This is the one I want to connect to. So I'm going to connect to that Stripe account. And voila, guess what, guys? It worked, which is always nice in a live demo. As simple as anything is when you're live, it always wants to blow up on you, but hey, it didn't blow up on us. So this is fantastic. It really is just that simple. We've done this on multiple websites. It's always that simple to connect to Stripe. Actually, PayPal is super easy as well. Okay, so we are connected now. So we have the basics, right? We have established the membership levels, which we're about to go look at, though we need to look at those a little more in detail. We have set up payment pages and other pages. And now we have a way to take money in, which is through our Stripe. Okay, so let's just zip on back here to our levels, though. On these levels, I've set up 2 levels here, right? Just to have something in that table, but let's go ahead and edit this one, silver. Oops, come on, there we go. All right, so this is the name of it. Obviously, I can put a description here. You would probably want to add some media in here, have a nice little graphic that represents this membership level, things like that. Put some information. You could also put a custom confirmation message per membership level that they sign up with. And so this is really nice because you may have different goals for the different membership levels. And so when they land on that confirmation, hey, thanks for buying this, whatever, you can give them another little message that's like, maybe it's a video that explains something to them. So you can do your own confirmation messages in here. And you'll notice that you can also send this with their confirmation email if you would like as well, not with a video in it, make it a video link. All right, so our billing details down here. And I really do appreciate that they made this very clear in here that you can have an initial payment and then you can have a billing amount. So what does this mean? Well, my initial payment means what they're going to pay today when they sign up. And then if it is reoccurring, and by the way, I don't have to have it. I could just literally have one that it's like, hey, sign up for $50. It's a lifetime, right? This is you're signing up. But I could say, no, I'm going to make this a reoccurring. So I can check that I want it reoccurring. So basically a subscription, right? And then I can, and I see people are already asking, so Mark, this is what I love about this, is that billing amount, I can change it. So if I want them to pay more upfront, maybe I'm going to mail them a package when they become a member, and there's a cost associated with that. So I'm like, yeah, it's $100 to sign up, but it's $50 to renew every year. So if I were to change this to $100 and then set my billing amount for every 1 year. And by the way, if you want to do this as a daily thing or weekly, you could set up different payment methods here, different reoccurring time periods. This is going to be for 1 year. So this means they're going to pay $100 today. In exactly 1 year, they will pay $50 to renew. That's what this setup is. So I like the fact that we can have two different numbers there. Quite often it's the same, but if you really do think about it, if there's more you're giving away up front, charge more that first year. You will see after you've had a membership site for a number of years, you will start to see what is the average length of renewal. In other words, do people stay members for 4 years? Do they stay a member for 2 years? You know, if it's a 2-year term, maybe you should be charging a little front loaded. You need to charge a little up front and then charge less on the years after, because one, it may encourage them to want to renew more years after that. They've already got the bigger payment out of the way. Now they're paying less on their renewals. So you can decide what works best with the way your content is delivered. Is it heavy front loaded on what they're getting value wise? And then you're just wanting to keep them renewed. They're still getting value, but you've already taken that bigger hit out of their pocketbook so that they're okay to keep renewing. And I think that some of that is when you're starting out, look at your competitors and kind of model yourself after who you want to be, is what I always say. You may not be able to charge as much as them, but model yourself after who you want to be. And then after you've been in business for a while, now you have metrics. You've got real numbers to look at to see when do people slough off, what makes people want to stay longer, things like that. And then you can adjust these. All right. So then the other thing I want to come down here is, because remember, part of this whole thing about the membership is it lets us restrict content. And this is just a simple example down here.
Robbie,
Yes.
There's a question that came in. I think it's appropriate to ask it now. You can tell me if it's wrong. Mike asked, if you change the recurring subscription amount, would that be reflected in all future subscriptions, or is it kept at the same rate they initially signed up for, or is that even an option?
That's an excellent question, Mark. And actually, I didn't read your question. I just saw you were asking about, can it be the same or different? I didn't see you were asking about if I were to change it. So to make sure I'm understanding you clearly, you're saying if I have this membership, this silver level that we just set up, and I have it running and it's been running for 6 months, and then I decide, hey, I'm going to change this on this particular membership level, will it change it for everyone else? And that is an excellent question. I think the answer is no, but I don't know the answer to that one. So I'm going to have to find out, and I'm going to look and see in a minute and see if Kim is still in our chat here, because if she is, she will know the answer to that if I do not know the answer to that. But
Kim is attending, so she may respond. Okay. She may not.
All right. Well, if Kim sees it and if she could respond in our chat, that would be fantastic. If not, I will definitely find out the answer for you. But I don't know the answer to that offhand. Like I said, I do believe the answer is probably it doesn't. Let's see. Yep. Oh, yes. Thank goodness I did that. And she said they're actually creating some content about that right now. This should be out soon. Perfect. Like I said, boy, they're busy making content over there. It's great. Yeah. Okay, so not that you couldn't run a little script yourself, Mark, on the database to fix that if you wanted to, but yes, okay, so it will not change for everyone else. It'll be for everyone going forward. Okay, all right, so now back to the content restrictions here, though. So like just basic content restriction here. You see, I've made some categories in here called gold, silver, and uncategorized, right? So I can actually say, hey, I want this to only be seen by my certain membership levels. So using the membership levels, one, for your billing, obviously we want to do that, but what are we doing with it other than that? We're helping to restrict information. Now, this could be, you could do this with courses. Let's say you have an LMS installed. You could use this to restrict courses. And I think they work with the major LMSs out there. Again, that would be a search through the add-ons. I know they work with LearnDash. I'm pretty sure they work with, oh geez, I had to look back again and see which ones. I know they work with LearnDash, though. I've done that setup already. So they will work with other plugins, though, to help you to use the membership levels to restrict content inside of the website. All right, now let's go back here. The other thing I like to point out is if you want to have a free membership level, you can also do a free membership level. And you may say, well, if I've got these paid membership levels, why have the free one? We're going to talk about that one a little bit more in depth, but you definitely, if you have anything that you're giving away, you want to go in there and create that free level. So at least you're getting them involved. Remember, this membership site is also a community, and you're pulling them into that community. And so even though it's a free membership level, it pulls them in, and you can give them something they can't see without being a member, even if it's a free membership. And then you can offer specials to them to upgrade, right? Because they're already in the ecosystem. And so then you could say, hey, well, we're going to offer the silver to our free members at this discount. And so it just pulls them into the community though, and then lets you tell them about how wonderful your next membership levels are. So I do recommend you do a free level if it makes sense with your product. Okay. So now let's go take a little look-see on the front end. Oh, well, it might help if I went and given a menu item for us to go click on. That would be really good, huh? So let's just very quickly go, because remember, we've created those pages, correct? So here's our main menu. I only have one menu on this site. It's pretty basic. And so I could go in and I could say, well, let's see what our the membership levels page. Let's go ahead and let's just add that to the menu. So we're going to go pretty basic right now, but let's just add that on. And it helps if we save our menu before we go refreshing things. Great. Okay, Kim's got to leave, but thank you, Kim. All right. So now we have our membership levels here, and you can see I can already go ahead and select one of these membership levels. So let's say the silver level is what I want to do it. Now I'm logged in already as someone. So this would be an example of, let's say I'm a free member and I want to upgrade. I could go ahead and select those membership levels and I could do the checkout. But what I'd like to do is go ahead and log out. I want you to see it as a new member signing up. So let's log out and let's go back to the front of our site. And now we're going to go into silver. You can see now I don't have my bar up there, right? I'm not logged in at all. I'm just looking at the site publicly. And I can go here and I can create a membership level, which, by the way, this is an open site. You guys can also go and create membership levels, but don't think you want to go do that on a demo site. All right. So username, and I'm going to do, I'm just going to do test Robbie. And then I need to create password. So let's do top secret password, and then email address. And by the way, if you do a lot of testing, whether it be, and Mark's in here, so testing forms that are send out emails or testing things that you sign up for, I always like to tell people if they don't know it, you can use Gmail. It's actually such a great feature. If you use your Gmail address, but after the first part of your email address, if you'll put a plus sign, you can put whatever you want, and then at Gmail or whatever if it's a Gmail that has a domain, you can use that too. But so I'm going to do Robbie Adair, and this is going to be testrobbie@gmail.com. What this means is I can use this same email address to test multiple users, because I'm just changing that Gmail, the little plus sign extra on that means I could change this 5 times if I wanted to. So I could do test Robbie 1, test Robbie 2, and I could keep using it. It'll all go into my one email address for me to check what they receive. Okay, remember we're using Stripe here. And so our Stripe good card, that's what I'll call it. The good card that does work is 424242. And we'll do 01/01/2023. Whoops, 23. Let's do that. And you can just make up your PIN code. You do have to make sure that the expiration date is past today's, but we are good with that. So now we will submit and check out. And remember, we haven't customized our emails in any way. So what it does send out is going to be, we don't need all of that, but now it has charged me to my test account. We'll check and make sure. It has sent me an email, and it has auto logged me in, all of those things. And you can see it's giving me some, remember, this is that we didn't change anything. So we're getting the basic information that's in there, but you can edit all of this and change it, as well as and I didn't make a menu item to it, but you can see I have a link. I can go here to it, the membership account. And so here I can actually see my billings. I can see when it's going to be coming up. There's other pages too, remember, that we generated, we can make links to. So once they're logged in, they can go to those different pages. But now let's go and take a look, see at our test stripe. And so if we go look down here, you can see here's the one we just did. There's that email address, Robbie.Adair plus testrobbie@gmail. So that succeeded in our test environment, sandbox. And then if I go here to my Gmail, you'll see, and again, we haven't changed anything. So it's like it's coming from my WordPress site, because that's what I named my WordPress site. But you can see it went to that email address we set up. It already has some information in here, just the basics, and it does send them to where they need to log in. So if they just did it and left and they want to go back and find their login, they don't remember where it is, they can find it in here. And so you can see here literally, and what was that? And that was with me yakking a whole lot. We, within 10 minutes, got something set up in here, connected it to a payment processor. We're able to check out, and we've restricted information on here. If we go to the front of this website, I should be seeing the posts that are for silver members, as well as anything that's public out there, right? And so we've started limiting them. By the way, I do like to point out, just because I've done so much LMS work, that they have a great little tool for auto-enrolling people in the courses that you want with the checkouts as well. And so that's really handy. I mean, you can auto-enroll other ways too, but theirs is pretty slick, and it allows you to go down to the lesson level if you want to. So that's kind of cool too. All right. So now I've got just enough time to go back and do our other slide. So hold on one second. I'm going to stop sharing with this one and go back over to our slideshow. Here we go. Okay. So that was taking a look. So now, remember I said I wanted to just talk about a few other things. Like today, you've probably we've probably heard some wonderful information about CRMs, advertising, ClickFunnels, all of that kind of stuff. You've probably heard a lot of information about that. So I want to just kind of think past those. Those are the things you will be doing anyway, but just thinking about other things. Remember I said the free level? I think free levels are very important, or a trial period. Depends on whichever makes sense for you. Free levels to me, though, typically you want to give them a little something, samples of content. A good example, if you have an ebook, maybe you give them 5 chapters of the ebook if they sign up, to be a free member. And so you're giving them something. I call it the carrot, right? So you're putting a carrot there and you're going like, yeah, if you sign up as a free member, you're going to get this for free. And by the way, I always like to point out, this needs to be valuable information as well. You can't entice somebody. You wouldn't want to entice someone with crappy information, right? You want to show them that you have very good information on your site and that it's valuable, it's worth buying a membership for. But you can show them that. Maybe you publicly, even you could write some blogs that give away some information, but then you say, we've got more information behind the membership, right? Maybe you put some free lessons in a course out there. Maybe you make it where those lessons are free to free members. So in other words, public, they can't even see them, but we say, hey, become a free member and you can watch these certain courses or these certain lessons. And so they get a feel for the content, right? And so they know, if one, you want to make sure they like the content, that they like the way it's delivered and all of that. Because you don't want somebody signing up, they haven't seen anything. And then they're like, well, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And they just want their money back. And then you're like, oh, it hurts so badly when somebody says they want a refund. It's going to happen. You'll just have to get over it. It will happen. But so make sure you have a refund policy, by the way. But you want to show them what they're going to get in some manner, with it being a free content piece that you give them so they see the quality of what you're going to offer. So I do recommend that. And then the biggest thing, I really do think of all the things, constant communication is key. Remember, you're selling something of value. So if you're selling something of value, then you need to remind them what that value is. Okay, especially if you're doing reoccurring revenue. If you're doing reoccurring revenue, do you think they're just going to keep renewing if they are not ever hearing anything from you? They're not seeing anything that's new out there. So you want to give them constant communication. Now, don't bug them to death and don't spam every, like send an email every day. I'm not saying that. You want to be consistent with your communication, and you want to be reasonable with it as well. But you do want to tell them, hey, this is what we've done, and this is what's coming up. People want to know. And that keeps them, one, remembering that they have a membership on your site, so they're not surprised when it renews. And two, hopefully it keeps them excited and keeps them wanting to renew every year, because they're like, hey, they send us out something, they're adding things, X so often. And so communication is super valuable. And it is the key, I think, to people really trusting your membership website and wanting to stay a member of it. And I didn't really, with that constant communication, the other thing I mean with that is also if you can create some sort of a community inside of it, even if it's a coaching site, let's say, where there's sessions, there's webinars, whatever it might be. But if you can also give a place where people can communicate among the other members, you're creating a community that's of value to them, because even your information is valuable that you're selling, but if they have connections with other people that are interested and are like-minded and are looking at the same thing and have similar questions, or maybe answers to their questions, that is valuable as well. And you should also point that in your communications. All right. So we are down to the final slide here. I do want to end. I think Kim had to leave, but I wanted to thank her because she did send me a discount code for the Groundhog event today. And so if you want to give it a go, she's given $50 off the first year of Plus and $100 off the first year of Unlimited. And you just have to go to that link to do it. And I'll put that link in the text chat as well. I do obviously encourage you to go and look at OS training. We have a blog. We give away a lot of information. We have OS tips on YouTube. So we have a lot of free content that we put out there so that you see the value of our content, right? And see the way we deliver information to decide if it would be right for you to become a member. So give myself a little plug there, but it is a good example of a membership site too. It's going on now 13 years. And again, if you ever have any questions for me, you can find me online. And I want to thank Groundhog for having me on here today.